You lead the way.
Oh,
so
no, don't be ridiculous.
Where would you like to go?
Maybe Cliffold Parkway.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Okay.
How long have you got?
Got a little time.
Well,
Not too long. I've got to go.
When you're ready.
I've got to go and be useful with children. We gave them the day to do exactly as they please today, and they're still wearing their pajamas. And they've basically played video games the entire day.
I thought I hadn't seen anyone in the garden.
But you know,
It's Bank Holiday Monday.
exactly.
So what are you meant to do on an Easter Monday? We're useless at that.
There ain't nothing else to do.
We mop the floors.
We had this funny thing yesterday where we were trying to, Luce and I really wanted to like sort of structure a fun day. We talked the night before and we came up with all these ideas. And then I did a poster and put it up, and Lucy like dyed eggs and all this sort of stuff.
Oh yeah, she told me about that.
And the boys just responded. Well, I think all of us responded really badly to that, to be honest with you. It's like, oh, enforced jollity, it just doesn't really work.
Yeah.
I was sort of in a bad mood. I'd promised to do an obstacle course, which no one seemed to be that interested in, including me.
With the remote control car?
No, just with all the bulls and stuff.
Oh, right.
But then, you know what was amazing is once we forgot about all of that and just relaxed, then we started having a fun time. And later on, I did actually do the obstacle course. And Noah, who was like, oh, no way, he like looked out his bedroom window, saw me and Solly doing it, and then was like, oh, I want to do that. So he came down. You know, it was really nice.
How was your chicken dinner?
Chicken was great, but you know, Noah doesn't like roast chicken, so he was in a bad mood. Doesn't like roast chicken. He loves fried chicken. It's like, what's the difference? Have a chicken wing.
What an odd boy.
I know, he's a strange fruit. So he wasn't into it. And I think there was a certain amount of disappointment that no one really seemed to care that much about the effort that Lucy put in.
And did you have pudding?
We had Easter eggs.
Oh, fair enough, okay.
So, here's my question for you.
Yeah.
George, my neighbour. How
Yes, neighbour Adam.
long have you lived in Highbury for?
Well, so I've lived here since November 2018.
Okay.
And before that, I was in Switzerland for 2 years.
Yes.
And then before Switzerland, I lived in Highbury for 6 weeks. Maybe slightly less, actually. And before that, it was in Barnsbury, so it wasn't very far away.
But you were brought up in Wales?
Mid Wales, yeah.
And that's where you were born and all of that?
I did all my birthing there, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brecon. Do you know Brecon?
I don't know it, no.
Near Llanfairpwllgwyngyllgost.
Pardon me?
You don't go with Llanfairpwllgwyngyllgost?
I'm not sure what's going on. Are you having a little petit mal?
It's an epilepsy thing, yeah. Come, Rafi.
That's good. So what first drew you to London then?
Well, I was doing ski seasons in the Alps.
Yeah. As a chalet boy?
Chalet boy, that was me.
Yeah.
Or chalet girl, you know, depending on how you looked at it, really.
Yeah.
Depending on the guest, it was flexible. And
I'm not sure what that means. I'm excited to explore that further.
during the break times, you know, because I did some summer seasons as well in Crete and Portugal, which I didn't really like because it felt like a boiled lobster.
Okay, yeah.
You know, there's always a month or so in between the seasons.
You're quite fair of skin. Do you burn easily?
Very easily, yes. Yes, it's a great stressful time for me. And I obviously didn't want to go back to mid-Wales.
Yes.
Why would you do that?
I don't know, yeah.
My
it's great
sister
natural beauty.
Hannah and brother-in-law James had, you know, this beautiful house in Barnsbury. So they became like the homestead figures and were very generous. And so I would just go and stay with them for a few weeks before I would... And that's sort of how that loop happened.
Yeah.
Of it becoming quite normal to stay in their house.
So how long had they been living in Barnsbury for then, before they moved to Highbury?
Well, I pretty much helped them move in. So they must have been in that house 4 or 5 years.
Right.
I have no idea about the timing on it. It's all one big blur. But I remember helping them move in. James had a flat in Hampstead.
Yeah.
A little 2-bedroom flat. And we moved. They just bought this house on Hemmingford Road.
Oh yeah, I know that.
So we got all the boxes and everything, and they all fit into one small corner of the dining room. And we just sat on the stairs. And everyone had this fuck moment. Well, what were they going to do? You know, they'd really bitten off a lot, and that obviously became a theme. That was then easy after that.
Where's James from?
James is from Manchester.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He's his mum and dad still live there.
Right.
Not in the family home though.
No.
And they moved into like an easy access flat a few years ago.
Okie dokie.
And yeah, that's the story.
There you go. Well, it's such a kind of village, isn't it, Highbury? I
Yeah.
sense from our conversations that you've, over the last few years, you've got to know quite a lot of people around the area.
Yeah, mainly through dog.
Okay.
Dog is handy on Highbury Fields, you know.
Dogging.
Yeah, exactly. Dogging is a really sociable sport, I've found. One of the nicest ways to meet your neighbours. And it really brings families together. There are a lot of weird dog people.
Are there many people on Highbury Hill that have dogs that go to the field?
I only know 2.
Right.
Yeah, actually. So that's not a lot from Highbury Hill, it's true. 3, sorry. They're all really nice connections, so I wouldn't have met any of those people had it not been for dog.
So who do you know on Highbury Hill that you've met through dog?
So my closest connection right now is Kate, who lives at the bottom, at the Arsenal end.
Yeah.
And she shares her dog with her sister,
Okay.
who lives on the Obert Park, Highbury Hill crossing.
Yes.
She's just built a brand new house that says plant trees on the side of it. Have you seen it?
No.
You will have done.
I need to go and have a look at that.
It's a modern house. She's an architect.
Right.
And so Kate lives at the bottom and she's an artist. And we got chatting because they have a spaniel that they share.
Is that what Rafi is?
Yes, what Rafi is. Yeah.
Is he?
Yeah, he's half spaniel.
What's his other half?
Oh, you don't want to know. Yeah.
I don't know anything about dogs, I'm afraid.
Do you really want to know?
Sure.
He's half Nova Scotian duck tolling retriever and half Brittany spaniel.
Has he got a soft mouth?
He's a mistake. He's got the mouth of a crocodile.
Has he?
And so Kate and her sister Jo, anyway, so I bumped into them, maybe once, and then I saw them again about 6 months later. Hi. And then, just casually, I was covered in clay, as I always am, which I've found to be a really good sales technique.
Very good.
Sold a lot of pots by being covered in clay. People say, oh, so what do you do? Looking at you, confused.
I like that.
Yeah. So that's exactly what happened with Kate, but she'd just taken up potting, and we had the same studio that we went to. So we got chatting. She was very interested in the fact that I'd just set up a kiln and wanted to come and see it, and so she did. And anyway, now she fires her pots in my kiln. So she makes them at home, brings them up and fires them, and then glazes them as well.
You right with this route?
Yeah. And so that's a really great connection. And then she makes the most beautiful fabrics and is a really established artist. And so has been really useful for advice, sort of what to do and how to go about living,
that's
trying
brilliant.
to make your way. That's a nice one.
I love that. I'm trying to think about what my equivalent could be of wearing pottery stained clothes to sell my wares. If I were a musician, I could just walk around with an acoustic guitar.
You could, yeah. It would be I think would be considered a dick move.
A little bit of a dick move.
Yeah.
But as a music manager,
It's hard.
what am I going to
I
do?
guess you could start directing people in the fields to produce music of some kind. Or do you think they might get the hint?
Do you ever see Spinal Tap?
No.
Oh, you should watch it. It's great.
Sorry.
Well, there's a music manager in that character called Ian Faith,
Yeah.
and he's just always carrying a cricket bat. That's like his little prop. God knows why. He's just sort of a posh English
to air
bloke.
guitar or to hit people?
No, just like that's just his thing.
Right, yeah.
Just a prop.
Great.
It sort of makes him curious or something. Makes him interesting. I don't know. I need a prop. I think a music management related prop.
Do you feel the need to drum up business locally?
Good point. Good point. Probably not.
That's what it all comes down to, I think.
No, that is true.
How's
How's it going with the pottery?
Well,
Come on, Rafi. Here we are on what is this? I've never seen that name
Never
before.
seen it.
Ardilaun.
no.
Wow, that's a cool name.
Sorry, what did you say before? Pottery. How's it
Pottery,
going?
yeah. How is it?
It's okay. It's good.
Is it okay in the lockdown?
terms? Oh, it's dreamy because, there's all these poor people who are having a disaster.
Yeah.
And I could have easily set up a studio somewhere or had some sort of shared space situation that would have led to me being completely unable to make anything. So I'm feeling crazy lucky about that. In terms of
Are people buying things?
business, yeah, so people are buying things, so that surprised me. But not big, expensive things,
Yeah.
smaller things. So it's a completely different model. Have been very spoilt in the past where people have always come to the pottery to see stuff
Yeah.
and then take it away.
Yeah.
And even if they bought stuff on Instagram, I'd nearly always say, come and get it.
That's cool.
And then I've had my students. So this is very different because I'm posting everything or delivering on my bike to those within a few miles.
Yeah. I love that.
So this morning I cycled to Bloomsbury, which is a bit of a stretch, but it was fine, 20 minutes. And yeah, so that's kind of fun.
A big thing, I suppose, for everybody is trying to find new distribution
Yes.
networks, like ways of doing it.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I mean, Kira, wait. What I really need to do is set up a website,
Yeah.
but I've been putting it off for a long time.
Do you think that's
It's a horrible
important?
job. I think it would be very helpful. For instance, I got an email the other day
For what though? To sort of make you look more legit, or to actually sell stuff?
to actually sell stuff.
Why is it better than Instagram?
Instagram, people find really hard to so I do a lot of stories and then also post. People find it hard to negotiate it. Old people don't like using it at all.
Yeah.
And then they've no idea what's been sold or what's still available or if you're still making that range or whatever. So, you get people emailing me about stuff I made a year ago that I would consider like beginner pots, They're like, oh, could you make me that? I was like, well, I've got no interest in making that now.
Right. Would you call yourself a ceramicist?
Yeah, here, boy.
I guess the different terms implies sort of different levels of art somehow.
Well, there's a certain amount of regret attached to this question because I picked the name Ceramics by George
Yeah.
a while ago.
Yeah.
But I don't actually like the term at all.
You don't like ceramics?
No, I much prefer pottery.
Okay.
It's got a more usable
More
feel
earthy.
to it,
Yeah.
and it maybe describes what I do a bit better. Whereas ceramics might be more, I think of the complete rubbish, more decorative sculptural pieces.
What's a French word for ceramics? Is there like a foofy French word for pottery?
I don't know. I don't think I would go down the French route though, to be honest.
It just puts me in mind, I don't know if this is true, but I remember someone once telling me that often in the English language you'll find 3 words for the same thing.
Yes.
One will have a Latin root like ceramic, one will have an Anglo-Saxon root like pottery, and one will have a French root. And often the Latin one will feel sort of somehow quite scientific, and the French one will feel quite sort of grand and foofy,
Yes.
and the Anglo-Saxon one will feel very earthy and real. And that's like
I do know none of those languages. No.
like flame and conflagration or something, and fire. Flame is like French, fire is Anglo-Saxon, and conflagration is Latin. Something like that.
How are you doing for time? Do you want to pop into the park or loop around to the old Finks and back?
Yeah, this is good. Let's just do a circuit back.
Yeah, okay.
I did hear a fun thing on Sam Harris's podcast this morning, thinking of you selling stuff. It's not exactly the same, but kind of related, was that he'd had to think about the things for the services rather, for the next 3, I think he did it in actually he didn't say, but let's say it was a 3-month chunk. He thought about the services like getting his hair cut that he would ordinarily do. And he was like, well, I get my hair cut every 6 weeks roughly, and I spend the following. And he said, well, I'm not going to be able to do it. But I'd already assumed I was going to spend that money.
Yeah.
So he sent the money to the hairdresser, saying, here's the money for my next 2 haircuts, which I'm not going to have.
Well, that's the dream of.
So I thought it was quite cool. I like that.
I like that idea. I mean, that's what I guess I'm exploring that world in the sense of we're about to have a recession, a really big one. And so then, as with the last one, that hits in really odd ways. Some people don't feel poorer at all, and other people's lives are decimated, and other people get richer. So it's like, how do you negotiate all of that, and how does your market change? And what do people do with that money?
You feel in some way that the wealth just sort of gets thrown up in the air and redistributed, but sort of but unfairly.
Yes. and often it doesn't change, of course.
Yeah. What was the impact of the last one for you?
Well,
2008.
for me, I was 18 in 2008.
Okay.
And I was doing ski seasons.
You're a young man.
So I just joined a ski company the year that they had cut their ski chalet numbers in half.
Yeah.
So for me, it was, I don't know, like, it didn't really affect me because I was coming into the company at that time.
Yeah.
I was a new employee. They had done all the right things preemptively. So they came out of it looking good because they hadn't had to lose all of this money. They didn't have lots of unsold properties, etc. And for some markets, like the luxury market, it was a real quick bounce back. They felt very little in that company anyway. So yeah, it didn't really happen. What about you?
No, it didn't really have a major impact on me personally, no. There was a sense of like wondering like how much it would hurt the live music business, but live music is such a kind of, it's so by the cycle anyway. You might have a year or 2 or 3 off and then come back to it. So I'm used to my life, my earnings being really like boom and bust. You have like a really good year and you just have to keep continually planning ahead. And like for example, I'm really lucky in the sense that I always knew that 2020 was going to be a really slow year for me in terms of income. Yeah, I've known that for about 2 or 3 years.
But 2019 was great.
2019 was good.
Is that because of the tour?
Because of touring, yeah. So in a sense, I'd already budgeted for a really quiet year. I've even really budgeted for a quiet year in 2021. So actually, like, we've kept all of our employees employed and because we were going to be doing that anyway.
Oh wow, yeah.
So it's kind of lucky, but that is the nature of my business, to need to be able to do that sort of thing.
And how are you adapting to being at home?
Oh, it's okay. Yeah, it's all right. I mean, it's nice. I guess what happens for me is like I fill my time with things. I want to be active. And for the first few weeks of the lockdown, it was all about triage, right? It's all about the problems that we've got to deal with, sorting out new systems, making sure that everything's in place properly, like overseeing loads and loads of things that I wouldn't ordinarily oversee. And then it suddenly hit me last week. It's like, oh, I don't need to keep doing this anymore. This is fine. Everything's working from a work point of view. It's doing what it should do. And I need to back off again and let people do their jobs. And then, of course, I think, oh, well, what am I going to do with my time?
Here we are.
And I'm sort of at this point now where I'm certainly enjoying having a little holiday over the Easter and hanging out with the kids and stuff. And I want to keep doing that. But I guess where my brain is going is I'd quite like to be helpful. I feel like the sooner I can get some antibody tests and know that we've all had it, because I feel like we have, then I can get out there and, do something for Islington Council or...
Yeah, that might be some time away. Yeah.
Well, they're saying a couple of weeks for antibodies tests.
But not available to the general public.
Yeah.
Really? You sure about that?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
That's what an article in the Telegraph said that someone forwarded me.
Well, I hope so.
They'll be available from Amazon and Boots.
Okay, well, that would be great. I'd be amazed if they can produce as many as they need to get through to support essential workers first.
But apparently this, I don't know. I don't actually, I need to explore it more. But my understanding is that you're not interfering with the flow on the essential workers thing at all by ordering them for yourself.
They wouldn't be available if they couldn't do that, but I would just be amazed because it would mean essentially producing 60 million in a month, Well,
they're testing something like 500,000 people a week in Germany or something.
Yes, they've got quite different infrastructures.
They went for it, didn't they? Anyway, well, we'll see about that. But yeah, that's my answer to your question. What about you? Because you've got quite an interesting setup there.
Yeah, but
living with your sister and brother-in-law and the kids.
It's very similar to my life before COVID,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still working from home.
Yeah. Well, it's nice that you're still getting out and making deliveries and stuff.
Yeah. Well,
I think that's really cool, isn't it?
Rafi, come on. It was it took me a wee while just to negotiate how to be able to do that, safely and under the rules and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
And I'm not exactly selling hundreds of products, so in some ways my life has not been made that complicated.
147 deliveries a day.
Yes, exactly. One a week is more like it. No, it's not quite true. The one thing I've really found fun doing is delivering birthday presents, or just presents to people who live extremely locally that other people have seen that I live near them.
Yeah.
So I delivered a birthday present to number 11 last week.
Nice.
And then another one to Cloudsley Road the week before that.
So good.
So that was all quite fun.
It's cool to sort of plot out the constellation of stars in your neighbourhood, i.e. like where people actually live.
Yeah.
Like with Sol, we baked some biscuits and then went and delivered them to a few of his friends. And I knew where a couple of them lived, just as in I'd been there before, but I didn't know anyone's addresses.
Yeah.
So I had to write up, get the addresses, texted from people. Then we like plotted it on a little map. It's like, oh wow, okay, yeah, that's where they actually live. These people that I see every day at school.
Yes. And were they all pretty close?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're doing some more tomorrow, and the 3 people that we thought of that we'd missed on the last round live within like 500 metres of each other. And I didn't know. I had no idea. 2 of them on Liverpool Road.
I think that's a really special thing for, and that's why it's so lovely that Sol goes to a school where he's going to have lots of friends that live nearby.
Yeah.
So much easier for your social dynamics, isn't it? To actually see people.
Yeah, so I guess, well, the big change would be that Hannah and James are at home all the time.
Yeah.
Where they would have been at work more.
That's a really big change. And the kids, obviously, because they both went to school.
Right.
And so they're at home. And then there's less helping as well. So the Starrel, who did the cleaning and looked after the children, she hasn't come at all because she lives with her aunt, Femi, who is fighting cancer.
Oh, wow.
So that was immediately clear that that was a bad idea.
Yeah.
So then they still have Estella, who lives in the flat, who's helping part-time. And she's just got a new job,
Oh, wow.
working as a researcher for Cambridge University. And so that will start on an unknown date. You know, a few months away, probably.
Will they be looking for a replacement, do you think?
Yes. Yeah, they will. Like today, for instance, you know, Hanny and I cleaned the house. And
Now, when you say clean, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Do you mean clean or tidy?
No, I mean clean.
You mean
I mean, I say that, but I'm laughing because it's a mammoth job. It's a huge house.
Yeah,
And so
it's
what
enormous.
we really did was we tackled the ground floor.
Yeah.
You know, and that was enough then to take a few hours to do a semi-decent job. So we did hoovering and mop the floors and...
I've got this terrible joke with my brother-in-law. It's terrible on so many levels. And one of the reasons it's terrible is because I cleaned some of the kitchen cupboards yesterday. But basically the only thing I've done so far is clean our bathroom. But my joke is like, never been cleaner.
It's a good joke.
Just want to say.
Well, okay, so the bathroom, I would say well done, because the bathroom is a good one to do because it's not a fun one.
Yeah.
But also,
It's
come
not
on.
unfun. It's all right. It's
Yeah.
no different than anything else, really.
No, but there's a mindset about cleaning the bathroom that I always would want to put off till last.
Really?
I think so. It's
I mean,
another- it's a
the
nice-
shitter
it's a
itself,
nicer
I
feeling,
guess,
of
yeah.
course, when it's done, isn't it? It's great. It's like clean sheets.
I scraped the lime scale off the shower and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, well done.
Oh.
Well, that's a grim job. You can come and do mine.
Glorious.
The lime scale around here is so gross.
It's intense, isn't it?
So gross. You think it's all going inside us.
The water must be very hard.
Yeah, the cleaning. So that's quite a big revelation in that house, to be honest, because,
A lot to clean.
well, no, but also there's always been professional cleaners
Right.
coming multiple times a week. I have done a lot of cleaning, and I do a lot of cleaning anyway, normally, but it's quite something when people are at home all the time.
Yeah.
The weather's good, so the garden is essentially in the house as well all the time. And people are cooking loads, and yeah, I mean, it just turns into a complete tip. And the kids are not old enough to clean up after themselves
No.
effectively anyway at all, but old enough to make an almighty mess in every single room. They've got this wonderful skill of looking like a sort of small angry bomb has gone off and then just moving on to the next room and doing exactly the same. Yeah.
We are at the old Arsenal Stadium. Wonderful.
Which I've never been in the green bit.
Oh, yeah, I've been once.
So Kate, who I was talking about earlier,
Yeah.
Her parents live here,
Okay.
and then her sister obviously lives on that street,
Over Park.
100, 200 metres away.
Yeah.
That's quite a fun little family trio, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a nice little setup. I mean, I've got that going on because my office is in Corsica Street.
Yeah.
My parents are in Canterbury.
Yes.
And Molly's just by Clissold Park.
Yeah, that's so nice.
So we're all pretty close.
That is so nice.
And actually, we don't see them as much as we'd like, but Lucy's brother is in Kensal Rise.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And her sister's in Shepherd's Bush, so
I've never met any. What's Lucy's maiden name?
St Giles.
Oh, wow. Yes, I forgot that. Well, I've never met any of the St. Gileses.
Lucy Valentine St Giles. She's not messing around with that name, is she?
Do you know that clip in Four Weddings and a Funeral with
No.
with Rowan Atkinson's the vicar,
Oh yeah.
and he's trying to pronounce St. John.
Oh yeah.
I don't know, it went down in our family anyway, something we would repeat a lot.
People, especially Americans, are just really upset about the idea that you say St. John instead of St. John, which, you know, on one level I kind of understand.
It was totally ridiculous.
Chumley, you know, Cholmondeley,
Oh yeah, that's impossible.
Leicester. I mean, it says Leicester, to be fair.
Worcester.
Worcestershire.
Yeah. They're amazing. Do you know what they are?
No, they are blue flowers,
Yeah, I see.
I would say.
A connoisseur.
Quite frequented by bees.
Very good. Not Budleias, actually.
No,
If that's what you were thinking.
no, we've got Buddleia in our garden.
I know, you got a beautiful one.
The bees are all over it.
Yeah. And butterflies love Budleias too.
Yeah, love a butterfly. Yeah, I wonder what's going to happen with all the hotels and restaurants and all that sort of stuff. It feels like one of the things I didn't quite realise, I was talking to my friend who his family had a little hotel in town when he was growing up, and when 9/11 happened in 2001, suddenly like no Americans were travelling, and it basically it was the end of their business. And I was thinking, wow, I mean, I wonder what the occupancy of a hotel is normally during the year with Americans in London.
Generally, anyway, hospitality work on very small margin with high debt levels, don't they?
Yeah,
And so it's just not particularly attractive to have to take on more debt that's being offered.
yeah,
And I think lots of them won't,
yeah.
because there's no guarantees associated with that debt.
Yeah, that's a real big question for people, isn't it? It's like, do I actually want a loan in a sense? Like, you know, there's the person that feels like I'm in total desperate need. I've got to get a bridging loan just to keep everyone going or keep myself going for like 3 months.
Yeah.
But then there's the people that are just on the edge of that, where they're like, well, I can keep going.
Yeah, or I could hibernate or liquidate or do something that involves
And
not
if I take out a loan, then suddenly I'm in debt, or more in debt in a way I don't want to be.
or in an unmanageable amount of debt.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a really scary time. Lots of questions.
yeah. Lots of questions.
So who are you going to be walking with next?
I don't know, I was thinking about if this sort of feels good from an audio point of view. Well, I was thinking about putting like flyers through people's doors and just saying get in contact if you fancy a half-hour walk, because really like my thought was to meet people, you know, on the road that I don't know.
Dogs that you know nearby.
Yeah, like Rafi.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you seen much of Tu and Jenna?
Yeah, we see them, they come out on the balcony quite a bit. We had a really good catch up with them a couple of days ago.
Oh, that's nice.
Just, you know, by chance, sort of casually, but it ended up being a good sort of hour's chat.
Oh, wow. I haven't seen them since your lunch.
Well, they isolated for a while because everyone in their building thought they had the virus. And then when they were set free, they came out into the garden on a hot day and drank a lot of wine and looked very happy.
Is it a shared garden then?
Yeah.
Ah, I see. So they weren't even able to go in the garden?
No.
Oh, that's grim.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal. But they are lovely people.
Oh, they are the best.
Yeah. I think they're sort of more your age than my age.
Well, how old do you think they are?
I don't know, I'm guessing maybe mid-30s, early 30s,
Yeah, probably.
like 33 would be.
Specific.
How's that for a guess?
Yeah. We probably could be there.
31 maybe?
Yeah, I don't know. 30s, yeah. Hard to tell.
It's a big Emirates. Looking forward to that being up and running again.
Yeah, though from a selfish point of view, I haven't missed the match shows. I know, because I'm a dick.
I like it. I like that whole vibe.
Mm.
I love it when the foreign teams come down in a massive gang down the hill. Not a football fan, George?
No, I'm not, Adam. I'm not. Don't understand it. I find it all very unappealing, I have to say.
Can I tell you something true about me?
Yeah, I only like.
For whatever reason, I like sports. I ended up playing rugby my whole sort of life, really, till I was in my late 20s. And I only started playing football about 5 years ago. And now I love it. And now I enjoy watching football. But for my entire life, up until the point that I started playing it, I honestly had no interest.
Yeah.
I think that could be a related thing for you as well. If you've not played a lot of football, then hello. How you guys doing?
Enjoying the sun. Bye. Yeah, well, I like the thought. The difference, of course, is that I am a disaster in any ball sport situation. So, picking it up later is unlikely, I feel.
But you're so young. You've got lots of
Oh,
time.
I'm so young, yeah. So young.
You could have a really full-on football career now for the next 10 years.
Do you think so? Yeah. You know, who knows? I might have it in me.
You never know.
You never know. You never know. I did play football with Noah this morning.
Ah,
Yeah, I got the net out, the little net, and within about 5 minutes he took to using net as a nest. And I think that might run in the family. So that was that.
he's so sweet, that kid. Oh my God.
I also had a really telling moment, but, well, you can decide who it's telling for,
Yeah.
is that I said to Noah, let's play frisbee.
Yeah.
So I got the frisbee out. Rafi was there too. No, he didn't know what a frisbee was. So I threw it in the garden and he ran, fought Rafi to pick it up, put it in his mouth, and then ran over to me on 4 legs like a dog to give it back.
That's fantastic.
And well, yeah, I love that.
You're raising him like that Austrian girl.
Yes. And you know what? I didn't correct him. So
No, but why would you?
that's frisbees for a while. Who knows? In our family, you know, he might not see a frisbee for a few more years, so that's like what he'll do next time.